Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome to your new favorite place on the internet. My name is Bella. My name is Bella, and I have this fervent need to do this intense, brutally honest bookshelf decluttering with you guys because it's been 6 months since I last did this, and in these past 6 months, I feel like I've gone through some severe against my will type of character development. And when I look at my shelves, I want them to represent who I am. I want people to look at my shelves and understand the type of person that I am. And recently, when I look at my bookshelves, there are certain books here and there that I'm just like, these were good when I read them, but they no longer represent the era that I'm in. Some books I keep because they still shaped me as a person, as a reader. Like, they mean so much to me, even though I don't see myself maybe rereading them, but they still hold such a special place in my heart. So I thought I would take you guys along with me as we go through every single one of my bookshelves or every single one of my shelves, and we are just so extremely brutally honest about what books need to go, what books no longer serve any purpose, and what books no longer represent me. Because literally this is my book collection, and I know it's a little bit narcissistic to want every single book to say something about me, but it is my book collection, so I feel like I can get away with being a little bit narcissistic maybe. I don't know, maybe that's just me. If I'm being insane, don't let me know. So anyways, yeah, we're going to be going through every single one of my bookshelves. We're going to be deciding which ones need to go, which ones need to stay. And I really want to take you guys along with me because I feel like when I film it, it keeps me accountable. Because I know you guys are not technically here, but it kind of feels like you are. Like, I need to keep my word. Like, if I say I'm going to be brutally honest, I have to be brutally honest. I hope you're ready because I did not come to play. I'm like ready to get rid of some books. Like, I don't know how many books I'm going to be getting rid of, but I definitely did not come with a kind heart today. So get excited. I hope you're comfortable. I hope you have your snack of choice, your drink of choice, because we're going to sit down. We're going to deconstruct my entire bookshelf. Not really, just like in the emotional sense. And we're gonna get this started. There's like this one specific collection or like series of books that I'm definitely going to be getting rid of. That's literally the only reason, no, not only reason, but that's like the main reason that inspired this entire video, because I keep seeing that stack of books and I'm like, why do I still have you? So we're definitely going to be starting down over there. I think if you've been here for a while and you know where I'm pointing at, I think you know what books I'm going to be getting rid of, so let's just get this started. Let's go. Okay, so I thought we would start on this shelf because honestly, the entire reason, or like the main inspiration behind this video, are my Tokyo Ghoul volumes. This series has gone from very high priority to medium priority to low priority. And honestly, I just think it's time to admit that I'm just never going to finish this series because I'm no longer interested in it. I saw the anime, I saw the seasons, and I think that all of the enjoyment that I was going to take from that series, I've already gotten. So I really don't want to spend any more of my time reading these books, and I've just kept them for nostalgia's sake. You know what I mean? Like, some of them were gifts, and this was one of the very first manga series that I started collecting, so like it has sentimental value, but so much time has passed that whenever I look at them, I don't really feel anything anymore. So I think it's time, let's just get a little bit closer. I think it's time to make space for more manga volumes. I don't know which ones yet, but obviously like we have a very interesting collection of both shonen and shoujo in the same shelf, so maybe by getting rid of these Tokyo Ghoul volumes, I'll be making space for better manga. Ay, perdón. Goodbye. So this is how the shelf looks now. Oh, maybe I can get instead of shoving those volumes up there, I can actually like put them nicely. I'm gonna have to figure something out because I definitely need a division between my shonen and shoujo manga, or just like action and romance manga. So If you guys have any ideas how I could separate this shelf, do let me know. But moving on to my Junji Ito one, you know, I'm a huge Junji Ito fan. I don't see myself getting rid of any of these, just for collection's sake. Like, even if, for example, Junji Ito's Cat Diary wasn't my favorite, but I would still keep it, because why not? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't take up that much space. It completes my Junji Ito collection. And yeah, I don't know. I think I'm pretty happy with this one, and I don't see any reason to get rid of any of these. So we move on. I just realized it's kind of weird that I started at the bottom of the shelf. We usually start at the beginning, but anyways, I like to do things differently here, apparently. So this is my Attack on Titan shelf. Again, literally zero reason to get rid of anything here. If anything, I should get more. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. This is a perfect shelf for me. And here we have my Chainsaw Man and Jujutsu Kaisen. Once again, I think this is gonna be like a recurrent theme only for this bookshelf, because I don't really see myself getting rid of any of my mangas except for Tokyo Ghoul, since I do love Demon Slayer, Spy Family, One Piece, obviously. Like, I literally just finished collecting the omnibus volumes, so I don't see myself getting rid of any. And then my Full Metal Alchemist volumes and my Death Note ones. They're just so iconic. Why would I ever get rid of them? You know what I mean? So I think in terms of my manga shelf, this is how it's going to end up staying. I only got rid of Tokyo Ghoul because honestly, I'm just so happy with the rest of my mangas. I don't really see a reason to get rid of anything else. So hopefully we keep it that way. Let's move. Oh wait, I do need to find a new place for my Studio Ghibli movies and my Switch games. I don't know why I keep them there. It just kind of happened. I do love them, but obviously I don't know if it makes sense to keep them there. Anyways, so next up we have my Book of the Month books. Do I see myself getting rid of any other ones? The thing is, when I look at my shelves, I want them to say something about me. I don't want to just have random books that I read and then I just kept because I didn't know what else to do with them. Like, I want each book to say something about me. I don't know if that's asking for too much, but when I look at this specific shelf, I think there's like at least 2 books that I would personally part with, and that is Reckless Girls by Rachel Hawkins, as well as The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. As you can see, they're both thriller books, and I think that I do enjoy myself. I do enjoy a good thriller book, but I don't know if I enjoy them enough to keep a physical copy of them. Like, yeah, they were fun when I read them, but they weren't, you know, I liked having them for when I read them, but I don't necessarily feel like I need to keep them now that I know what's what. You know what I mean? Apart from those, I'm pretty happy with this shelf. Like, I really liked all of these books, specifically the ones that are on display. Those are incredible, fantastic. Also, the Anthropocene Reviewed. I think it was just such an incredible book, and it took me by surprise because I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did, but it was a gorgeous book, and it was very insightful. I love John Green's perspective on things, and I just think that he is such a wise man, and I don't mind listening to him speak. I did cry with this book. I don't like letting go of books that made me cry, because obviously that means that they've touched me in a way, whether it be emotionally or just it reminded me of what I was going through in that period of my life. I don't know. Like, I don't like getting rid of books that made me cry, because that's such a significant, or like, it's such a significant experience. Why would I ever want to get rid of books that made me feel so much? So I think I'm good with this shelf for now. Actually, wait, maybe... Honestly, this one, while it was a very good book and it was extremely creepy, like, I really enjoyed reading it just because it was so eerie and it was so disturbing, but I don't see myself rereading this ever. I would recommend it. I do think I know someone that would enjoy this book, so I'd rather them have it than me just keep it in this shelf because I had a good time when I read it. So I'm also getting rid of this one. So this is how it looks now, after I've gotten rid of 3 books: The Devil Takes You Home, Reckless Girls, and The Paris Apartment. Literally no hate to these books. They were actually really, really good, especially Reckless Girls and The Devil Takes You Home. The Paris Apartment was mid. But like all of these were really fun to read, and I'm just getting rid of them because I know people that would enjoy these more than I will in the future. So, oh my god, I already know who I'm gonna give this one to. Okay, this is exciting. Okay, I'm getting excited now. Moving on to this shelf, which is arguably my least favorite shelf just in terms of how it looks, because I've never really found a way for these books to look good together, but I also don't really know where else to put them. So it's just like a weird collection of genres. And it works for me in the sense that I know where the books are. Like if I think of a book that is on this shelf, I know where it is. But in terms of display, in terms of aesthetic, I just don't think I've nailed it yet. But anyways, looking at the books on this shelf, I don't really see myself getting actually. Okay, I think. So I got this book. Not that. Okay. I got this book for a reading challenge that I did where I read the lowest rated book on my Goodreads TBR and the highest rated book. And this was the lowest rated book. And it's not that it was bad, but it definitely has a very specific audience. Like not everybody's going to enjoy reading this. But if you're a fan of My Year of Rest and Relaxation, this kind of has the same vibes in the sense that you're going to hate the main character because she's just not all there mentally. And it's a very interesting book to read because you get really inside of this character's head, but you can't really trust her experience because she is so unhinged and she's so deranged. And she's she loves feeding into her delusions. Like she starts to believe her own lies. And it's just such an insane reading experience. I actually had a lot of fun reading this one. But again, I think I gave it 3.5 stars. Like it's not, ooh, look at all those tabs. Okay. So yeah, like it's a nice cover. Like it's a very interesting cover for sure. Look at that woman. It's giving. But do I ever see myself rereading this book? Absolutely not. I think I have more love for My Year of Rest and Relaxation than I have for Nobody, Somebody, Anybody. So again, literally no hate to this book. It was such an unhinged reading experience. I would actually recommend it, but I don't see myself reading it again. And I feel like somebody else could enjoy it more than I did. Like now, you know what I mean? Like I enjoyed it for what it was, but I'm ready to move on. And I don't think I will ever go back to read this book. So I'd rather give it a new home. My Japanese literature corner is so beautiful. I really need it to be bigger because every single Japanese literature book that I've read has been so beautiful and has been so eye-opening, and it makes you think so much. It makes you reflect on your life and your emotions. And it's just such a cathartic and emotional and heartwarming experience. I need more Japanese literature. I feel like I say that every single time, but yeah, I'm not getting rid of any of these. I love them. And then this is like my tiny, tiny, tiny poetry collection. I think it's time. You know what I mean? I think it's time to get rid of Homebody by Rupi Kaur. I got this book when I was reading like Books with Chloe or Chloe Bunny for a week, and this is one of her favorite books of all time. So I got it, and it was an enjoyable experience. Like there are a couple of poems that had me reeling and that had me, you know, ay perdón, amiga. There were a couple of poems. Let me see, oh my god, I even added a quote where Chloe's talking about this book. Simplistic yet powerful poems, February 8, 2022. That was more than 2 years ago. That is insane. Nothing lasts forever. Let that be the reason you stay. Even this sick, twisted misery will not last. Okay, thank you. I needed that. Thank you so much. So yeah, Homebody by Rupi Kaur. It does have a very nice collection of poems and thoughts, but I don't see myself flipping through this one anytime soon. And as soon as I read some of these poems, I immediately thought of the person that I was going to give this to, and I feel like they need this more than I do. So only got rid of 2 books in this shelf, but already feeling fantastic about it. Moving to this shelf, I don't really think I'm going to be getting rid of any because what can I say? I'm a sucker for romance. Romance makes me so happy. I'm absolutely never going to be getting rid of my Heartstopper books. And obviously Emily Henry will never leave my shelves. Like, she is such a big part of my life as a reader. Yeah, she literally can never leave. If you guys see me unhauling Emily Henry, call 911. Okay, but if we move to my pink shelf, do I see myself? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yeah, excuse me, baby. I see myself getting rid of Death in Her Hands by Ottessa Moshfegh. Oh my goodness. I bought this, I think because of the cover. I just really wanted more pink books, and I had already read Ottessa Moshfegh before, so I was like, okay, I might like this one. Let's give it a try. I gave it a try, and it was terrible. I literally enjoyed maybe 3% of this book. I don't really know why I've kept it for so long. Actually, I do know. It's because I was committed to the pink shelf, and I was like, okay, it fits so well in my pink shelf, I might as well keep it just for the aesthetic. But I'm done doing things just for the aesthetic, so this is leaving. Let's see, who else is going to leave my beautiful abode? Honestly, I read this when I was in uni, and I really liked it. It's Autobiography by Christina Lauren. This was recommended to me by a subscriber, and I actually really enjoyed it. I found it really cute, but ever since I finished it, like years ago, like before 2019, I haven't thought of it ever again. So like, I don't really know why I've kept it so long, since I'm never going to be reading it again. It's a really nice cover, it's really stunning, and it's gorgeous, and it's a really good story. It's a really wonderful and heartwarming and hopeful story about love and finding yourself, and a coming of age story, if you will. But again, never again going to be reading it. So even though you were a wonderful experience, it's time to move on. And then, oh my goodness, should I get rid of Dash and Lily's Book of Dares? Because again, I'm never going to be reading this one. Like, I used to read this every December, but I kind of got over that era in my life. Like, I don't know, like, there are other December books, there are other Christmas books that I could spend time with, and this doesn't have to be one of them. And if I ever feel like I want to revisit this story, I can just watch the Netflix adaptation, which I actually really, really enjoyed, and is so cozy and atmospheric. So honestly, yeah, I think I'd rather watch the TV show than read this book again. So once again, saying goodbye. And honestly, I've also kept one more book just because of the aesthetic. Can you guys guess which one it is? Is it The Virgin Suicides? Is it Conversations on Love? Is it Someone Who Will Love You in All Your Damaged Glory? You're incorrect. It's actually Funny You Should Ask by Alyssa Sussman. Look at this cover. Like, look at it. It's a graphic designer's dream. Like, it's just so aesthetically pleasing. This scratches an itch in my brain that I didn't even know I had. And I love how it looks aesthetically. And the book itself, it was good, for sure. It was nice. I don't even know. It's like this reporter, and she has to interview this celebrity, but they used to know each other back in the day. And it goes back and forth, girl. I don't know what I'm saying. 10 years later, and she still has butterflies, but does he feel the same way? Yeah, for sure. So it was fun when I read it, but I think I gave it like 3.5 stars because it was okay. You know what I mean? But I've kept it for so long because it's gorgeous. But once again, I'm done doing things only for the aesthetic. So goodbye, my friend. These are all the books that I'm going to be getting rid of in this shelf. It looks like this now. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna have so much space for better books. I'm so excited. So far, this is what we have. Moving on to this shelf. This is a little bit more complicated because I do need to go through every single book to make sure, like, to remember which ones are which and which ones I want to keep. Oh, this is actually Japanese literature if cats disappeared from the world. Also another book that it was gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. This is the bell jar. Never getting rid of her. Rebecca.
It's not what you think. I won't hesitate, bitch.
Oh, why do I think I put this book here simply because of the tabs because I needed to fill the space and I didn't have any more tapped books. But once again, I'm tired of doing things for the aesthetic. So this is Se va, te fuiste. Thank you for your time, but it's time to say goodbye. First victim of the shelf. Let's see, In the Dream House. Oh my god, baby girl, you're also leaving. I've really enjoyed Serpent and Dove when I read it, but I've kept it for so long because I needed a book with tabs on this shelf. Again, this is called character development, okay? Character development. We're not doing things just to be pretty anymore. We're making space for better things. So there we go. I want to die, but I want to eat the Wookiee. I felt that. Yeah, I don't think I'm getting rid of any other books in this pile or like this shelf. Okay, listen, the only reason that I'm keeping Cleopatra and Frankenstein, because I did not like this book, but I'm keeping it because it was a Patreon read. And I remember that I took this to a resort that I went to with my family, and I remember taking it to the pool and to the beach. So whenever I look at this book, I remember that vacation with my family, and I don't want to let go of those memories just yet. Like, let's talk again in 1 year. Maybe 1 year from now, I'll unhaul it, but for now, it's still too filled with memories for me to say goodbye to it. So anyways, this is how my shelf looks like now. I got rid of 2 books in this shelf. Moving on to my classics shelf, I honestly will be very sincere. I don't think I'll be getting rid of any books in my classics shelves because obviously it's always such an experience when you read a classic. You either spend so long with it, it kind of becomes a little bit a part of you in a way. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just being very dramatic about this. Each single book in these 2 shelves have a story behind it. And I don't see myself ever wanting to get rid of any of these. Like maybe a year from now, I'll want to get rid of Lolita. But apart from that one, yeah, I would never get rid of any of these books. I don't know, they just mean a lot to me. So yeah, sorry to disappoint, but I'm not going to be getting rid of any of these books. Not me looking to see, just to make sure. Yeah, but just like looking around, looking at every single one, I don't think... Yeah, even if I didn't like them that much, I still wouldn't get rid of them because I still remember how I felt when I read them, and I don't want to let go of that feeling. So yeah, these 2 shelves are staying exactly the same. Now we're moving on to my color-coded skinny bookshelf, which is very iconic if I do say so myself, but that does mean that I've been a little bit what's that word when you're not particularly looking forward to something? I've been a little bit apprehensive of looking through this shelf because I don't know which ones I would want to get rid of. So I guess there's no time like the present. We do have the Lunar Chronicles here, which, yeah, once again, it was such a big period of my life and it was such a big obsession for me. It was literally all I could think of when those books were coming out, so I don't see myself saying goodbye to them. And The Girl Who Drank the Moon, again, like, yeah, I don't want to get rid of these books. I really don't. So, like, don't make me. Let's just go directly to this blue shelf. And I think here we will be sacrificing a couple of books. The very first one, I think it's going to be Fierce Fairy Tales by Nikita Gill. I read this with a friend of mine, and we both agreed that it was a good book. It was an okay book, but we wouldn't really, like, it had its moments, but overall, it was just okay. That idea, it was you. You are the universe's fairy tale come true. Stop, that's kind of nice. Ay, espérate. I kind of like the way that I annotated this. But do I like it? Oh my god, not me quoting Taylor Swift. I love this mindset. It reminds me of how little my problems are in the grand scheme of things and lets me know I'm a part of a whole. Oh god, not my annotations making me reconsider if I should keep this. Your Honor, please let the record show that I found my new obsession, humanizing the villains of the story, accepting that nothing is black and white, even when it appears to be. As a proud lover of morally gray characters, I must say I'm having so much fun. The way that I don't even remember how much fun I was having. Ugh, it's giving Taylor Swift. The Taylor Swift brain rot is so real. So as you can see, it does have a couple of bangers. Okay, so looking through my annotations, at first I thought it was going to convince me to keep this book, but the more that I flipped, the more that I realized that I really enjoyed the beginning of this book, but then more than half of it, it was just mid for me. So even though it has some great poems at the beginning, I don't think they're enough for me to keep this book. Again, I feel like I know someone that would appreciate this more than it's being appreciated right now. So yeah, I think I'm going to be saying goodbye to it. And then, I don't know if you noticed, but I actually have 2 copies of Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation. Like, this one is here in the blue shelf, and then in my Don May shelf, I don't know if you can see, I mean, you'll see it when we get to it, but it's right there. So I don't really see a reason to keep 2 copies. So yeah, I'll be getting rid of one. As you guys know, I gave this book a second chance recently, and I actually really enjoyed it, and now I'm really looking forward to reading the rest of the series. So I'm just getting rid of 1 copy, but I will definitely be keeping the other one. I think, honestly, I'm gonna be so for real. The Darkest Star by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I remember when I was a very big fan of the Lux series, as you can see, and this was like a spin-off series where we follow the way that I don't even know, but I do remember that Damon and Cat, is it Cat? Well, Kitty? Cat? Is it Cat? I don't know. Gracias, no me dijiste nada. I do know that Damon does make a cameo, and I went completely ballistic when I saw him in this book. But this is like an actual like full-on series, and I never continued reading it. And this came out years ago. When did this come out? Like 2017? Oh my god, it's signed by Jennifer L. Armentrout. 2018. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so I read this as soon as it came out, and then I never continued with the series because obviously since it had recently come out, the sequel wasn't ready. But then by the time that the sequel came out, I was no longer interested. I had moved on. My reading tastes had changed. So yeah, I think it's time to finally admit that I'm just never going to be continuing this series. Like, literally no hate, I love this book. Actually, I don't know if I love it, but I do know that I love the Lux series, so I feel like anything related to the Lux series I was going to love. But I think that part of my life is over, and yeah, it's time to move on, babes. I think this is how my blue shelf has ended up looking. Actually, look, if we're being brutally honest, I should get rid of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Like, why would I keep this? I don't even like the movie. So like, why would I keep the original screenplay? I remember that I didn't even buy this. This was my sister's, and she gave it to me. But like, I don't want to keep this, so why should I? Maybe I should just give it back to my sister, because this literally adds nothing to my life, to my bookshelf, literally nothing. So yeah, this is good riddance. Honestly, but that's a gorgeous gold foiling though. But honestly, if you're keeping a book just because of the gold foiling, you should reconsider your life choices. I'm talking to myself because I'm about to keep that book just because of the gold foiling, but I know I can't. Ay, Dios mío, I don't know if to be brutally honest. Like, I know I'm being brutally honest, but I don't know if I should be extremely brutally honest. Because I think that what I'm about to do is extremely brutally honest, and that's getting rid of the strange and beautiful sorrows. Okay, now I don't know how to pronounce that word. The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender by Leslie Walton. Let me explain why this is probably the most brutal decision I'm going to be making in this entire video. So this book, for the longest time, meant so much to me. Not even because I enjoyed the book. I think I gave it 2 stars. But the thing is that I read this book for a live show with Books with Chloe, or how she's known now, Chloe Bunny. I remember it was like this, like I was still barely starting my booktube channel. I think I had like maybe 2,000 or 3,000 subscribers. And when Chloe invited me to this live show, I was literally like, oh my God, I've made it. Like, this is my it moment. Like, this is the moment that I'm gonna look back on and be like, that's when it all began. And I remember that live show was such a beautiful experience because, of course, I got to meet Chloe and we got to spend time together. So I don't know if you guys remember, but it was like this book club that Chloe had, and it was called Books with Friends. And oh, look at this. Dear Isabella, thank you so much for helping us host our August live show. Sorry you didn't love the book, but we still had so much fun. Love, Chloe and Spence. Oh my goodness, this was such a moment for me and my life. But I think I'm okay with just keeping the postcard and not having to keep the book because, as they mentioned, I wasn't a fan of the book. But I was a really big fan of Books with Friends, and the fact that I got to experience this with people that I looked up to, and that it was just so huge to me. But this book was not huge to me, and I was really upset. I remember it so vividly. I remember being really upset with this book because it has so much triggering content and there was no warning for it. So obviously when I got to those parts, it was just very harrowing and I did not like it, and it was very disturbing, and I don't know, like, I remember just not liking this experience. So, but I still have the postcard, and I feel like that means 10 times more than the book ever could. So again, goodbye, baby. And so this is how my blue shelf looks now. I got rid of 5 books. Oh my goodness. Not my foot. I got rid of 5 books on my blue shelf. I honestly did not think I would be getting rid of that many books, but alas, we're growing up. It's called character development. Not my foot again. Let's add this to the pile of unhauled books for now. Moving on to my light blue shelf. Ay Dios, Sunny, I'm so sorry. Sorry. Okay, listen. The first and foremost, I need to say goodbye to Beartown by Frederick Bachman. And I say Sunny because Sunny is actually the person that gifted this to me. Let me see if I must still have the note. Yeah. Hi Bella, 2 Bachman have made you cry so far. Here's to hoping this one will too. This has not aged well. Wishing you an amazing holiday season. Looking forward to your 2023 reading year. Love you, from Sunny. So yeah, Sunny, which is the best person I know, she gifted this to me for Christmas. This was actually a Patreon buddy read, and it literally destroyed me, but like not in the goofy haha way. It literally triggered such a terrible, I don't even know how to call it. I don't think it was a panic attack, but I just literally could not. No, it was too much. And unfortunately, I do have a reading vlog about it on my Patreon. For some reason, I vlogged it when I clearly could not speak an entire sentence. But anyways, yeah, this was not a good experience, but this is definitely just more me than the actual book. Frederick Bachman, of course, is an incredible author, and he has written one of my favorite books, which is Anxious People. But Beartown is just one of those books that, yeah, I could, no. Like, I, no. Como que no. And I kept it because it was a gift from Sunny, and obviously I didn't want to, como que no quería hacer el fo. I don't know how to say that in English, I'm sorry, but like I didn't want to, disrespect is not the word, but I didn't want to like I didn't want to diss the gift that Sunny had so beautifully given me. But I think she would understand, and she has told me multiple times, baby girl, it's okay if you get rid of this book. Like, please get rid of that book. So I think it's finally time to say my goodbyes. Apart from those, I mean, I could get rid of 7 Days in June, because this is a book that I thought I would love, but I ended up not loving, so I don't really know why I kept it. It was a little bit disappointing, I think, because everybody said that it was such an amazing book and it was everybody's new favorite thing, so my expectations for it were really, really high, and it ended up being a very mid experience for me. Yeah, I don't see any reason to keep it. I did enjoy it when I read it, but I definitely wouldn't pick it up again. So there we go, another goodbye. Honestly, si estamos siendo sinceros, again, we have to be brutally honest here. The American Roommate experience, this was a very mid experience. I had such high hopes for it because I was such a big fan of The Spanish Love Deception, which is Elena Armas's first book. But this one, girl, I don't even know what she did, but I did not like it. So I think I'm going to be getting rid of this because I literally have zero recollection of this book. And that's when you know there was very little to enjoy on my part. I still gave it like 3 stars, but not my favorite for sure. So this is how my shelf looks now. Oh my god, they look so naked. Okay, moving on to my green shelf. Ugh, always such a slay. I love the color green and it always looks so good. Anyways, let's see here. Again, why have I kept this for so long? I think because I put my collector's hat on and I was like, yeah, I just have to own everything that I can. Again, I didn't buy this myself. I think my sister gave this to me too. Like, she bought it for herself, but then she never read it. So I was like, okay, I'll take it off your hands. I've kept it because it fits so well with this shelf. But I literally see no reason to keep it anymore. So A Farwalder Magic, my beloved. I think I read that like in a day. It was so good. The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I don't really, okay. Honestly, I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed it. I really did. Let the record show, I really enjoyed this. But this is like a full-on series, and I don't see myself continuing, and I also don't see myself rereading this book, even though it's gorgeous. Like, we love a good typographic cover, but I don't think I'm going to pick it up again. Oh my god, it looks so good on camera. Okay, again, I'm not doing things for aesthetic's sake, so let's move on. Room for better things. Even though you were great, but now we're going to have even better books here. So I think if you guys saw my bookshelf tour, you do know what is behind this. You know what I mean? But like, I'm not getting rid of that. One, because it's not actually my copy. It's like the family copy. So I can't legally get rid of it. But I still feel like it was a huge achievement for me to read this because I never thought I could, especially because it's the Spanish original edition. So yeah, I'm really proud that I read it, but that doesn't mean I have to put it on display, you know what I mean? But that also doesn't mean that I have to get rid of it. So moving on, we have my yellow shelf. Now this one is a little bit more I mean, already I know who I'm going to be getting rid of. This yellow looks stunning though, if I do say so myself. Oh my goodness. Anyways, gonna get rid of Harry Potter and the Cursed Child because I didn't even enjoy this. Like, honestly, what was this? I don't know. I don't think I ever want to know. So yeah, and then we do have 2 copies of Yellowface, but one is an ARC that is such a special moment for me, and then one is the final copy, like the final hardcover one. So I don't think I'm going to be getting rid of either. And this is like a collection of short stories in summer, set in the summer. I think I'm gonna keep this one, but just so that I can read it this coming summer, and if I don't vibe with it, I may get rid of it because like there's 2 authors that I keep up with. The rest, I've kind of outgrown them. I'm gonna keep this book for a couple more months, and when summer is over, if I don't get around to reading this, I will get rid of it. But right now it's on trial. I think, yeah, this is how we're gonna keep it. And then my orange shelf, I think I also have to be a little bit brutal with this one. I think I'm gonna get rid of Felix Ever After. I did really enjoy this book. I loved it when I read it. I mean, look at all the tabs. Like, I obviously had such a fun time reading this, but I have never thought of this book after I read it, and I don't think I'm ever going to read it again. So I think it's time to say goodbye to it because I feel like it could have a better home somewhere else. Like, someone else could love this so much more than I ever will. So even though I thought it was a very thought-provoking and insightful book, I don't see myself reading it again. I don't know if I'm gonna get rid of any, actually. I do love Elizabeth Acevedo primarily because she is a Dominican author and I love supporting Dominican authors. I don't really see myself reading this again. I did enjoy it when I read it, but I think it's time to move on from it. Okay, sorry, my mom was putting on really loud music, but anyways, it's a very Dominican thing to do in the middle of the day. But yeah, anyways, I really enjoyed this book, but I think I'm gonna move on and give it a better home. Oh my god, I'm actually getting rid of so many books. It's kind of insane how many books I'm getting rid of. So this is how the shelf looks now. It's a little bit empty, but it's okay. We'll fill it up with better books soon. And then the final shelf in this bookshelf or rainbow bookshelf is the red shelf. Now here, what are we gonna do here? I feel like we have a lot of things to unpack and it's gonna be such a pain to like move stuff around, but it has to happen, so let's just do it. First and foremost, why is it so yellow? Anyways, first and foremost, I think I'm going to be getting rid of Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda. I really loved this book when I read it, but again, I don't really see myself reading it ever again, even though I really enjoyed it. I know that there's a couple of companion novels that follows different characters in this book, and the fact that I don't really have any, like, I don't want to read them. Yeah, Simon, goodbye. You were a wonderful experience. And I think I'm also going to be getting rid of Crying in H Mart. Ay, Dios, ¿por qué tuve que ponerlo ahí? Okay, just, okay. Okay. I think I'm also going to be unhauling Crying in H Mart by Michelle Sonner. This is a memoir, and it was an experience that I don't want to repeat. That's all I'm gonna say. So, I'm never gonna reread The Hate U Give. Even though this is an incredible book, I don't see myself rereading it, and I feel like this could do so much better or so much more good somewhere else than just sitting on my shelf gathering dust. So even though this is an incredible book, I'm also going to be unhauling it. And now I think I'm okay with how this shelf looks. Honestly, no, yeah, okay, I'm good with this. We can move on. 3 books from the red shelf we're saying goodbye to. Oh my goodness, so many books. Now we're moving on to this shelf, which is honestly basically just fantasy books. I don't really know how many we're going to be getting rid of here because I'm pretty attached to all of these. Like, if we start off with the Percy Jackson shelf, I'm not getting rid of any of those. Let's be so for real right now. Like, I love every single one of them. The Trials of Apollo, the Magnus Chase one, the Heroes of Olympus. Brutally honest, I'm not getting rid of any of them. Moving on to my favorites shelf. Again, why would I get rid of a book that is in my favorites shelf? That just makes absolutely no sense. Yeah, yeah, I'm sorry to speed through this, but like, I'm not going to be getting rid of any of those books, so there's no reason to stick for too long on this shelf. Moving on to this shelf though. Are there any books here? Yes, absolutely, for sure. Book of Night by Holly Black. I did get the ARC, and even though I'm like so incredibly, what's that word, honored to be able to have like this ARC, not for sale, like, you know, it was a whole thing. I had really high expectations for this book because obviously Holly Black is the author of one of my favorite trilogies, and this was her first like adult debut, and for me personally it did not give. Even though I just felt like so incredibly proud for having this ARC, I don't really think I need to keep it. So there we go. Yeah, I think I'm good with this shelf as well. Apart from that Book of Night ARC, I don't really see the reason to get rid of any others. So let's move on to this one. You know what? I think it's time to admit that some of these books, like, they're good aesthetically, but personally they don't mean anything to me. The first one being These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. Ay, Dios mío, qué belleza. O sea, wow. If I could lie to you guys, I would just say, yeah, I'm getting rid of this, and then I would hide it, but I could not live with myself if I lied to you guys. So even though I adore this book, and I love the idea, the camera is not even focusing on the book, that's how much it hates it. I love the idea of this book, but I don't know. And I'm never gonna get the sequel, so I might as well, you know, like the duology is never gonna be completed, so I might as well get rid of the first book. And I guess same thing with this one, The Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Nyan. This is a trilogy, I believe, and I honestly lost interest. These are really good books, don't get me wrong. When I first read Girls of Paper and Fire, I mean, just look at this cover though, like holy crap. I remember this took BookTube by storm, and everybody was reading it, everybody was loving it, with good reason. This is an incredible book. But I think the more time that passed, the less interested I was in continuing this series. And also, I remember not really liking the sequel. So Yeah, like it was a whole moment on BookTube, but I think it's over. It's kind of sad that not really. Like I was gonna say it's kind of sad that I'm never gonna finish the series, but I don't really feel sad. Like, yeah, because I haven't thought of this series in so long. I don't really feel anything when I think of DNFing it or unhauling it. So yeah, I'm sorry, you were amazing, but it's time to move on. And then we also have We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faisal. I always said, oh my god, look at the amount of tabs. Actually, no, the thing is, let me explain, because Sunny, which I mentioned previously in this video, I mention her in all of my videos. Yeah, she recently read We Hunt the Flame, and the way that she was fangirling about it, it reignited my interest and my love for this book. And now seeing how many tabs this book has, like maybe I did love this book. And the thing is that I read this book before the sequel was out, so by the time that it did come out, I was already on to the next trilogy, on to the next duology, and I didn't really have time to read the sequel, or I didn't make the time to read the sequel. But now that Sunny is reading it and she made me excited for it all over again, I think I'm gonna get around to reading the sequel and seeing what it's all about, because obviously I loved it, so I want to see why. I'm gonna give it a second chance. This is on trial. If I don't read the sequel in the next couple of months, I will be unhauling it, just to let the record show. Oh my god, I think this is like too brutal. Like I'm gonna end up with no books, because I'm also going to be getting rid of Children of Blood and Bone, which again, it was a whole thing on BookTube. When these books came out, people were going insane over them, and with good reason as well. Like these books were insanely good. But again, so much time passed between the sequel and then the last book. But by the time the third one came out, I was just no longer interested in continuing the series. I really loved the first book because it was kind of giving Avatar. I remember that it was marketed for fans of Avatar: The Last Airbender, which is literally the fastest way to get me to read something. And I obsessed over this book for so long. Like I still have a reading vlog about it. But yeah, if you asked me what this story was about or if I was excited to continue it, I would have to say no. I'm sorry. Like you were incredible, but yeah, yeah. And then we have my Lee Bardugo books, which honestly, I don't really see myself unhauling any of these. Actually, I do. Ay, Dios mío, yo me voy a quedar sin libro. King of Scars. This is a duology. Oh my god, look at that. Am I actually going to get rid of this book? Okay, not aesthetic, not aesthetic. We're not doing it for the aesthetic anymore. Oh my god, but look, it's so pretty. Stop it. Okay, I'm getting rid of this one too because this was a 3-star book for me. Ay, pero mira qué lindo. Okay, I'm getting rid of this. Not like that. Not like that. I'm so sorry. That was very insulting. I did not mean to do that. You deserve respect, and you're gonna get it. But not in this household. So, ay Dios mío, I'm getting rid of so many books. Wait, that's so sad. I don't think I can do this with one hand. Oh, look at how the shelf looks now. Oh my god. I need to fix this ASAP. Moving on to this shelf. Yeah, I don't really think I'm gonna be getting rid of any of the books here because I genuinely enjoyed every single one of them and I don't see a reason to get rid of them. Moving on. Okay, so I'm definitely getting rid of God Killer by Hannah Kaner because even though I really enjoyed it, I don't see myself continuing the series. It was like an okay fantasy. And the cover is beautiful, the cover is insanely gorgeous, but I don't see myself buying the sequel, and I'm okay with that. So even though I enjoyed it, I'm okay with never finding out what happens. And then with my Carrie Maniscalco books, these were a whole experience. Like every single time that I look at them, I remember the time in my life where I read them and just how insane I was over these books. So I'm never gonna be, well, for now, I'm not going to be getting rid of them, but I am going to be getting rid of Kingdom of the Wicked. This actually was a Patreon buddy read, but this again is like an entire series and I don't see myself reading the rest of the books. And maybe if I do continue it, I'll do it like digitally or through audiobook, but definitely not physically. So also goodbye. Yeah, I'm not getting rid of these books either. So we only got rid of 2 books in this shelf. Moving on to the last shelf on this bookshelf. I don't really see myself getting rid of any of these because, you know, nostalgic reasons. And I also I really do love rereading the Lux series whenever I'm in the mood for trashy romance. What can I say? Like, I have a type, okay? And Damon is definitely my type. Also, it has so many of my favorite tropes, like actually, I'm not gonna get into that because that is too personal, but like, it has a lot of my favorite tropes. Actually, yeah, let's get into it. It has the sick trope, which obviously, like, who doesn't love a good sick trope? It has the one bed trope. Obviously, you can never go wrong with the one bed trope. It also has, and this is a very specific trope, and this is the reason that I didn't want to get into it, because I haven't seen anybody like this trope or like publicly like this trope, and it's when one of the main characters gets captured or gets kidnapped, and it's dual point of view, so we can see the person that is kidnapped and we can see what they're going through, and then we can also see what the other person is going through while trying to get them back. Like that forced separation and the angst and the pain of like trying to get back with each other and like trying to save them and protect them. The angst is so good. It's so good. You don't understand. And they do it so well. They do it so well. Yeah, I don't really think I'm gonna be getting rid of any books here because I don't really see the need to. I did go back and forth with these 3 books because they are science fiction, and science fiction isn't my favorite genre. Literally, I have next to no science fiction books except for these, and it's because they're just not built like other science fiction books, you know what I mean? Like they're mixed media, and I remember when I first saw them and when I first read them, they were just so fun because they were so different from anything that I had ever read before, and it was so interesting, and I don't know, I just remember having so much fun reading this. And I don't know, I don't really want to get rid of them. So good. So good. And it's also so eerie and so creepy because it deals with artificial intelligence. I don't know, like, I don't want to get rid of that. So moving on to the very last bookshelf on my collection. My collection, which actually is the first bookshelf, but I decided to start all the way over there for some reason that is unbeknownst to me. I do feel like this one is going to be a quickie because I don't see myself getting rid of any of these books. They've marked such a big period or such a big era in my life. Looking at these books brings me so much happiness, and it takes me back to when I first read them, especially the Clockwork Princess or the Infernal Devices trilogy. Like, that was a whole entire period of my life. Like, literally, these books have shaped my reading profile or my reading preferences so much, and they were the very first books that I ever read when I was starting to love reading. I don't really know if I'm going to be getting rid of any here because, again, this is my Danmei novel, or like my Danmei collection. This is the Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation edition that I was telling you guys about. And like, I don't really want to get rid of any books here. I'm so sorry. But let's see if maybe in this shelf. Okay, so Cemetery Boys. I really loved this book. I loved it so much. I think I gave it 4 stars, and I remember a friend of mine was absolutely obsessed with this book, and yeah, I just remember fangirling over this book so much, and it has so many nice memories. But again, I don't see myself ever picking it up, and I think I'm okay with giving it to somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, I loved it. It was incredible. And I really love the representation in this book. But I'm okay with not having it in my bookshelf collection. So it's joining the unhaul pile. Okay, so I only got rid of 1 book here. And then I'm going to move very quickly over this one as well because I only keep those books for nostalgia's sake. And then this one... I don't think I'm going to be getting, actually, I feel like I've said that so many times. Like, I start saying, I don't think I'm going to get rid of any, and then I stop myself because I realize that I will be getting rid of a book. It's this book, The Darkest Legacy by Alexandra Bracken. Also, I did unhaul these books like 5 lifetimes ago, but before I could find a place to, or like someone to give them to, or like a place that I could drop them off, a friend of mine was like, do you want to read these books? And I was like, well, I still have my copies, so let's give it another try. And I ended up binging this entire trilogy in one day. And I decided that, hey, maybe I don't want to get rid of these books. So in case you're wondering why I still have these books, even though in one of the videos, like 3 years ago, I unhauled them, that's why. But anyways, the book that I was talking about getting rid of is The Darkest Legacy by Alexandra Bracken. Not the neon orange highlighter. Whew. Okay. So apparently I had a lot of thoughts while I was reading this book, but I'm okay with letting go of it. The last book that I'm going to be unhauling on this extreme, brutal bookshelf declutter. Oh my goodness. Should we go through every single book that I've unhauled? Let's do that. Look at my stunning collection of unhauled books. These were all a part of my book collection mere moments ago, but we've been brutal, we've been extreme, and it's time to say our final goodbyes. So why am I being so dramatic about this? I don't know. But anyways, I thought we'd go through every single book that I'm about to unhaul, just like as a final farewell, you know, say our final goodbyes. I don't know, maybe if we have any second thoughts, this is like the last chance for me to save them. So without further ado, let's go through every single book that I am planning on unhauling after this extreme, brutal bookshelf decluttering experience. The very first one, in no particular order, this is just how they ended up looking, but the first one is The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. Actually, should I get out of frame and just show you guys the books? Like, this has nothing to do with me. First book we're getting rid of, The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. Reckless Girls by Rachel Hawkins. The Devil Takes You Home by Gabino Iglesias. Serpent and Dove, are you focusing? Now you really want to leave, huh? Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin. A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire by Jennifer L. Armentrout. The Darkest Star by Jennifer... Oh wait, wow, I didn't even realize, but these two are Jennifer L. Armentrout books. I mean, one is YA and the other one is adult, but either way, they're both Jennifer L. Armentrout and they're both leaving. God Killer by Hannah Kaner. Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco. Cemetery Boys by Aidan Thomas. The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender by Leslie Walton. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. Dash and Lily's Book of Dares by Rachel Kahn and David Levithan. Autobiography by Christina Lauren. It's this, you know what I mean? Like, it's this. Saying goodbye to all 7 volumes of Tokyo Ghoul. I think it's finally time to admit that I'm never going to continue this series, and that's okay. That is okay. Fierce Fairy Tales by Nikita Gill, author of Wild Embers, collection of poetry that I really enjoyed. Homebody by Rupi Kaur. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. The Darkest Legacy by Alexandra Bracken. Book of Night by Holly Black. King of Scars by Lee Bardugo. Okay, no, this is the shiniest book that I own. Oh my god, look at that. It could be used as a reflector. You could go blind with this. Anyways, I'm getting rid of it. Children of Virtue and Vengeance by Tomi Adeyemi, which is the sequel to Children of Blood and Bone. Girls of Storm and Shadow by Natasha Nyan, which is the sequel to Girls of Paper and Fire. These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. Funny You Should Ask by Alyssa Sussman. Death in Her Hands by Otessa Moshfegh. The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter by Theodora Goss. The American Roommate Experiment by Elena Armas. Not a good experiment. Not a good experiment. Tia Williams's 7 Days in June. Grandmaster of Demonic Cultivation. Beartown by Frederick Bachman because, trauma. Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. Felix Ever After by Kaysen Calendar. Nobody, Somebody, Anybody by Kelly McLaury. The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. Crying in H-More by Michelle Sonner. And last but definitely not least, we have Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda, written by Becky Albertalli. Those are all of the books that I'm going to be unhauling today. Honestly, I'm really happy with how this book unhaul went. I did not think I would be getting rid of so many books, but I feel good. I feel good about this. I don't feel like I'm being too extreme. I feel like these books no longer represent me, and I'm okay with letting go of them and giving them to other people who could appreciate them more than I am currently. So let me know in the comments below what you thought of my decisions, today's decisions. How do you feel about them? And also ask yourselves, how long ago did you look through your bookshelves? How long ago did you truly think about the books that you own? And let me know in the comments below. I feel like that could be interesting. That's it for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed going through my bookshelves together and just being extremely brutally honest about what books I want to keep and what books needed to go. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, maybe like the video, like hit that subscribe button, and also smash that like button. I also have a Patreon where I post exclusive content. I host readathons, reading sprints, and a monthly book club. So if that is something that sounds interesting to you, the link is down below as always. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed. I hope you have the most wonderful of days whenever you're watching, and I will definitely be seeing you next time. Bye.
Hey Jimmy, you nice, keep going.